A child thinks 20 shillings and 20 year can scarce ever be spent. A cold April, the barn will fill. A countryman between two lawyers is like a fish between two cats. Act uprightly, and despise calumny. Dirt may stick to a mud wall, but not to polished marble. A cipher and humility make the other figures and virtues of tenfold value. A false friend and a shadow attend only while the sun shines. A father's a treasure, a brother's a comfort, a friend is both. A fat kitchen, a lean will. A fine genius in his own country is like gold in the mine. A flatterer never seems absurd. The flattered always takes his word. After 3 days, men grow weary of a wench, a guest, and rainy weather. After crosses and losses, men grow humbler and wiser. A full belly is the mother of all evil. A full belly makes a dull brain. A good example is the best sermon. A good lawyer, a bad neighbor. A good man is seldom uneasy. An ill one, never easy. A house without woman and firelight is like a body without soul or spirit. A lean award is better than a fat judgment. A learned blockhead is a greater blockhead than an ignorant one. A lie stands on one leg, truth on two. A life of leisure and a life of laziness are two things. A light purse is a heavy curse. A little house well filled, a little field well tilled, and a little wife well willed are great riches. All blood is alike ancient. All mankind are beholden to him that is kind to the good. All things are cheap to the saving, dear to the wasteful. All things are easy to industry, all things difficult to sloth. All would live long, but none would be old. A long life may not be good enough, but a good life is long enough. A man in a passion rides a mad horse. A man without a wife is but a half a man. A man without ceremony has need of great merit in its place. Ambition often spends foolishly what avarice had wickedly collected. A mob's a monster, heads enough, but no brains. A modern wit is one of David's fools. An egg today is better than a hen tomorrow. An empty bag cannot stand upright. A new truth is a truth. An old error is an error, though clod pot won't allow either. Anger and folly walk cheek by roll. Repentance treads on both their heels. Anger is never without a reason, but seldom with a good one. Anger warms the invention, but overheats the oven. An honest man will receive neither money nor praise. That is not his due. 100 thieves cannot strip one naked man, especially if his skin's off. An ill wound, but not an ill name, may be healed. An innocent plowman is more worthy than a vicious prince. Anoint a villain, and he'll stab you. Stab him, and he'll anoint you. An old man in a house is a good sign. An old young man will be a young old man. An ounce of wit that is bought is worth a pound that is taught. An undutiful daughter will prove an unmanageable wife. A pair of good ears will drain dry 100 tongues. A plowman on his legs is higher than a gentleman on his knees. Approve not of him that commends all you say. A quarrelsome man has no good neighbors. A quiet conscience sleeps in thunder. Are you angry that others disappoint you? Remember you cannot depend upon yourself. As charms are nonsense, nonsense is a charm. Ask and have is sometimes dear buying. A soft tongue may strike hard. As pride increases, fortune declines. As sore places meet most rubs, proud folks meet most affronts. A temper to bear much will have much to bear. A wicked hero will turn his back to an innocent coward. As we must account for every idle word, so we must for every idle silence. At a great pennyworth, pause a while. A traveler should have a hog's nose, deer's legs, and an ass's back. At the working man's house, hunger looks in but dares not enter. At 20 years of age, the will reigns. At 30, the wit. At 40, the judgment. Bad commentators spoil the best of books. Bad gains are truly losses. Bargaining has neither friends nor relations. Be always ashamed to catch thyself idle. Be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors. Beauty and folly are old companions. Being ignorant is not so much a shame as being unwilling to learn. Ben beats his pate, and fancies wit will come. But he may knock. There's nobody at home. Be not niggardly of what costs the nothing, as courtesy, counsel, and countenance. Be slow in choosing a friend, slower in changing. Better is a little with content than much with contention. Better slip with foot than tongue. Beware, beware, he'll cheat without scruple, who can without fear. Beware of him that is slow to anger. He is angry for something, and will not be pleased for nothing. Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. Beware of meat twice boiled, and an old foe reconciled. Beware of the young doctor and the old barber. Blame all and praise all are two blockheads. Blessed is he that expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. Buy what thou hast no need of, and ere long thou shalt sell thy necessaries. By diligence and patience, the mouse bit in two of the cable. Calamity and prosperity are the touchstones of integrity. Ceremony is not civility, nor civility ceremony. Changing countries or beds cures neither a bad manager nor a fever. Cheese and salt meat should be sparingly eat. Children and princes will quarrel for trifles. Clean your finger before you point at my spots. Clearly spoken, Mr. Fogg. You explain English by Greek. Clever men are good, but they are not the best. Content and riches seldom meet together. Riches take thou, contentment I had rather. Content is the philosopher's stone that turns all it touches into gold. Content makes poor men rich. Discontent makes rich men poor. Courage would fight, but discretion won't let him. Creditors have better memories than debtors. Cut the wings of your hens and hopes, lest they lead you a wary dance after them. Danger is sauce for prayers. Dally, not with other folks' women or money. Death takes no bribes. Declaiming against pride is not always a sign of humility. Defer not thy well-doing. Be not like St. George, who is always on horseback and never rides on. Deny self for self's sake. Despair ruins some, presumption many. Different sex, like different clocks, may be all near the matter, though they don't quite agree. Diligence is the mother of good luck. Diligence overcomes difficulties. Sloth makes them. Distrust and caution are the parents of security. Do good to thy friend, to keep him, to thy enemy, to gain him. Doing an injury puts you below your enemy. Revenging one makes you but even with him. Forgiving, it sets you above him. Do not do that which you would not have known. Do me the favor to deny me at once. Don't go to the doctor with every distemper, nor to the lawyer with every quarrel, nor to the pot for every thirst. Don't judge of men's wealth or piety by their Sunday appearances. Don't misinform your doctor, nor your lawyer. Don't overload gratitude, If you do, she'll kick. Don't think to hunt two hares with one dog. Don't throw stones at your neighbors if your own windows are glass. Don't value a man for the quality he is of, but for the qualities he possesses. Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of. Drink does not drown care, but waters it and makes it grow faster. Drink water, put the money in your pocket, and leave the dry bellyache in the punch bowl. Drive thy business, or it will drive thee. Drunkenness, that worst of evils, makes some men fools, some beasts, some devils. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Eat few suppers, and you'll need few medicines. Eat to please thyself, but dress to please others. Employ thy time well, if thou meanest to gain leisure. Ever since follies have pleased, fools have been able to divert. Every man has assurance enough to boast of his honesty, few of their understanding. Experience keeps a dear school, yet fools will learn in no other. Eyes and priests bear no jests. Fear God, and your enemies will fear you. Fear not death, for the sooner we die, the longer shall we be immortal. Fear to do ill, and you need fear bought else. Fine linen, girls, and gold so bright, choose not to take by candlelight. Fish and visitors stink in 3 days. Fly pleasures, and they'll follow you. Fond pride of dress is sure an empty curse. Ere fancy you consult your purse. Fools make feasts, and wise men eat 'em. Fools multiply folly. Fools need advice most, but wise men only are the better for it. For age and want, save while you may. No morning sun lasts a whole day. For one poor man there are 100 indigent. For want of a nail, the shoe is lost. For want of a shoe, the horse is lost. For want of a horse, the rider is lost. Friendship cannot live with ceremony, nor without civility. Friendship increases by visiting friends, but by visiting seldom. Full of courtesy, full of craft. Generous minds are all kin. Genius without education is like silver in the mine. Gifts burst rocks. Gifts, much expected, are paid, not given. Give me yesterday's bread, this day's flesh, and last year's cider. Glass, china, and reputation are easily cracked and never well mended. God gives all things to industry. God heals, and the doctor takes the fee. God helps them that help themselves. God, parents, and instructors can never be requited. Good sense is a thing all need, few have, and none think they want. Good wives and good plantations are made by good husbands. Grace thou thy house, and let not that grace thee. Graft good fruit all, or graft not at all. Great almsgiving lessens no man's living. Great estates may venture more. Little boats must keep near shore. Great famine when wolves eat wolves. Great good nature without prudence is a great misfortune. Great merit is coy, as well as great pride. Great modesty often hides great merit. Great spenders are bad lenders. Great talkers, little doers. Great talkers should be cropped, for they have no need of ears. Half hospitality opens his door and shuts up his countenance. Half the truth is often a great lie. Half wits talk much but say little. Happy that nation, fortunate that age, whose history is not diverting. Happy's the wooing that's not long a-doing. Happy Tom Crump ne'er sees his own hump. Haste makes waste. Harry Smatter has a mouth for every matter. Have you somewhat to do tomorrow? Do it today. Having been poor is no shame, but being ashamed of it is. Hear no ill of a friend, nor speak any of an enemy. Hear reason, or she'll make you feel her. He does not possess wealth, it possesses him. He has changed his one-eyed horse for a blind one. He has lost his boots, but saved his spurs. He is a governor that governs his passions, and he is a servant that serves them. He is ill-clothed, who is bare of virtue. He is no clown that drives the plough, but he that doth clownish things. He is not well bred, that cannot bear ill breeding in others. Help, hands, for I have no lands. He makes a foe, who makes a jest. Here comes the orator, with his flood of words and his drop of reason. He's a fool that cannot conceal his wisdom. He's a fool that makes his doctor his heir. He's gone, and forgot nothing but to say farewell to his creditors. He's the best physician that knows the worthlessness of the most medicines. He that best understands the world, the least likes it. He that builds before he counts the cost, acts foolishly, and he that counts before he builds, finds he did not count wisely. He that buys by the penny maintains not only himself, but other people. He that by the plough would thrive himself must either hold or drive. He that can bear a reproof and mend by it, if he is not wise, is fairly of being so. He that can compose himself is wiser than he that composes books. He that can have patience can have what he will. He that cannot bear with other people's passions cannot govern his own. He that cannot obey cannot command. He that can take rest is greater than he that can take cities. He that can travel well afoot keeps a good horse. He that doth what he should not shall feel what he would not. He that drinks fast pays slow. He that drinks his cider alone, let him catch his horse alone. He that falls in love with himself will have no rivals. He that goes far to marry will either deceive or be deceived. He that has a trade has an office of profit and honor. He that has not got a wife is not yet a complete man. He that hath a trade hath an estate. He that is of opinion money will do everything may well be suspected of doing everything for money. He that is rich need not live sparingly, and he that can live sparingly need not be rich. He that lies down with dogs shall rise up with fleas. He that never eats too much will never be lazy. He that pays for work before it's done has but a pennyworth for 2 pence. He that pursues 2 hares at once does not catch one and lets the other go. He that resolves to mend hereafter resolves not to mend now. He that rise late must trot all day and shall scarce overtake his business by night. He that scatters thorns, let him not go barefoot. He that's content hath enough. He that complains has too much. He that sells upon trust loses many friends and always wants money. He that sows thorns should never go barefoot. He that speaks ill of the mare will buy her. He that speaks much is much mistaken. He that spills the rum loses that only. He that drinks it often loses both that and himself. He that takes a wife takes care. He that waits upon fortune is never sure of a dinner. He that won't be counseled can't be helped. He that would catch fish must venture his bait. He that would have a short Lent, let him borrow money to be repaid at Easter. He that would live in peace and at ease must not speak all he knows, nor judge all he sees. He that would rise at court must begin by creeping. He that would travel much should eat little. He who multiplies riches multiplies cares. He who buys had need to have 100 eyes, but one's enough for him that sells the stuff. Hold your counsel before dinner. The full belly hates thinking as well as acting. Honors change manners. Honor thy father and mother, i.e., live to be an honor to them when they are dead. Hope and a red rag are baits for men in mackerel. Hope of gain lessens pain. How few there are who have courage enough to own their faults. Hunger is the best pickle. Hunger never saw bad bread. Idleness is the Dead Sea that swallows all virtues. Idleness is the greatest prodigality. If it were not for the belly, the back might wear gold. If Jack's in love, he's no judge of Jill's beauty. If a man could have half his wishes, he would double his troubles. If passion drives, let reason hold the reins. If pride leads the van, beggary brings up the rear. If thou hast wit and learning, add to it wisdom and modesty. If thou injures conscience, it will have its revenge on thee. If thou wouldst live long, live well, for folly and wickedness shorten life. If wind blows on you through a hole, make your will and take care of your soul. If worldly goods cannot save me from death, they ought not to hinder me to eternal life. If you'd be beloved, make yourself amiable. If you desire many things seem but a few. If you'd have a servant that you like, serve yourself. If you'd have it done, go. If not, send. If you'd know the value of money, go and borrow some. If you'd lose a troublesome visitor, lend him money. If you do what you would not, you must hear what you would not. If you have no money in your pot, have some in your mouth. If you have time, don't wait for time. If you know how to spend less than you get, you have the philosopher's stone. If your head is wax, don't walk in the sun. If you ride a horse, sit close and tight. If you ride a man, sit easy and light. If your riches are yours, why don't you take them with you to the other world? If you would be loved, love and be lovable. If you would be revenged of your enemy, govern yourself. If you would have guests, marry with cheer. Be so yourself, or so at least appear. If you would keep your secret from an enemy, tell it not to a friend. If you would not be forgotten as soon as you are dead and rotten, either write things worth reading or do things worth writing. If you would reap praise, you must sow the seeds, gentle words and useful deeds. Ignorance leads men into a party, and shame keeps them from getting out again. I have never seen the philosopher's stone that turns lead into gold, but I have known the pursuit of it turn a man's gold into lead. Ill company is like a dog who dirty those most that he loves best. Ill customs and bad advice are seldom forgotten. I'll warrant ye, goes before rashness. Who to thote comes sneaking after. Industry pays debts, despair increases them. In success, be moderate. Interest, which blinds some people, enlightens others. In the affairs of this world, men are saved, not by faith, but by the want of it. I saw few die, of hunger, of eating 100,000. Is there anything men take more pains about than to render themselves unhappy? It is better to take many injuries than to give one. It is ill jesting with the joiner's tools, worse with the doctor's. It is ill manners to silence a fool, and cruelty to let him go on. It is not leisure that is not used. It is wise not to seek a secret, and honest not to reveal it. It's common for men to give pretended reasons instead of one real one. It's the easiest thing in the world for a man to deceive himself. Jack little sowed little, and little he'll reap. Keep flax from fire, youth from temptation. Keep thou from the opportunity, and God will keep thee from the sin. Keep thy shop, and thy shop will keep thee. Keep your eyes wide open before marriage, half shut afterward. Keep your mouth wet, feet dry. Kings and bears often worry their keepers. Kings have long arms, but misfortune longer. Let none think themselves out of her reach. Late children, early orphans. Laws like to cobweb, catch small flies. Great ones break through before your eyes. Laws too gentle are seldom obeyed. Too severe, seldom executed. Laziness travels so slowly that poverty soon overtakes him. Learn of the skillful. He that teaches himself hath a fool for his master. Lend money to an enemy, and thou'lt gain him. To a friend, and thou'lt lose him. Let all men know thee, but no man know thee thoroughly. Men freely ford that see the shallows. Let every new year find you a better man. Let thy child's first lesson be obedience, and the second may be what thou wilt. Let thy discontents be thy secrets. If the world knows them, 'twill despise thee and increase them. Let thy maidservant be faithful, strong, and homely. Let thy vices die before thee. Liberality is not giving much, but giving wisely. Light gains, heavy purses. Light-heeled mothers make leaden-heeled daughters. Light purse, heavy heart. Little rogues easily become great ones. Little strokes fell great oaks. Look before, or you'll find yourself behind. Lost time is never found again. Love and be loved. Love, cough, and a smoke can't well be hid. Lover and lordship hate companions. Lovers, travelers, and poets will give money to be heard. Love well, whip well. Love your enemies, for they tell you your faults. Love your neighbor, yet don't pull down your hedge. Lying rides upon debt's back. Mad kings and mad bulls are not to be held by treaties and pack thread. Many a man's own tongue gives evidence against his understanding. Many a man would have been worse if his estate had been better. Many a meal is lost for want of meat. Many complain of their memory, few of their judgment. Many dishes, many diseases. Many estates are spent in the getting. Many foxes grow gray, but few grow good. Many have quarreled about religion that never practiced it. Many medicines, few cures. Many princes sin with David, but few repent with him. Many would live by their wits, but break for want of stock. Marry above thy match, and thou get a master. Marry your son when you will, but your daughter when you can. Mary's mouth costs her nothing, for she never opens it but at others' expense. Meanness is the parent of insolence. Men and melons are hard to know. Men differ daily about things which are subject to sense. Is it likely then they should agree about things invisible? Men meet, mountains never. Men often mistake themselves, seldom forget themselves. Men take more pains to mask than mend. Money and good manners make the gentleman. Money and man a mutual friendship show. Man makes false money, money makes man so. Most fools think they are only ignorant. Most of the learning in use is of no great use. Most people return small favors, acknowledge middling ones, and repay great ones with ingratitude. Much virtue in herbs, little in men. Necessity has no law. I know some attorneys of the same. Necessity has no law. Why? Because 'Tis not to be had without money. Necessity never made a good bargain. Ne'er take a wife till thou hast a house and a fire to put her in. Neglect kills injuries. Revenge increases them. Neglect mending a small fault, and 'twill soon be a great one. Neither praise nor dispraise till 7 Christmases be over. Never entreat a servant to dwell with thee. Never praise your cider, horse, or bedfellow. Never spare the parson's wine, nor the baker's pudding. Nice eaters seldom meet with a good dinner. Nick's passions grow fat and hearty. His understanding looks consumptive. 9 men in 10 are suicides. No gains without pains. No man e'er was glorious who was not laborious. None are deceived but they that confide. None knows the unfortunate, and the fortunate do not know themselves. None preaches better than the ant, and she says nothing. No resolution, repenting hereafter, can be sincere. Nor eye in a letter, nor hand in a purse, nor ear in the secret of another. Nothing but money is sweeter than honey. Nothing dries sooner than a tear. Nothing humbler than ambition when it is about to climb. Nothing more like a fool than a drunken man. Nothing so popular as goodness. Now I have a sheep and a cow. Everybody bids me good morrow. No wood without bark. No workman without tools, nor lawyer without fools, can live by their rules. Observe all men, thyself most. Observe old Vellum. He praises former times, as if he'd a mind to sell 'em. Of learned fools I have seen 10 times 10. Of unlearned wise men I have seen 100. O lazy bones! Dost thou think God would have given thee arms and legs if he had not designed thou shouldst use them? Old boys have their playthings as well as young ones. The difference is only in the price. Old young and old long. One good husband is worth 2 good wives, for the scarcer things are, the more they're valued. One may be more cunning than another, but not more cunning than everybody else. One mend fault is worth 2 find faults, but 1 find fault is better than 2 make faults. 1 today is worth 2 tomorrows. Onions can make evening heirs and widows weep. Pain wastes the body, pleasures the understanding. Pardoning the bad is injuring the good. Patience, in market, is worth pounds in a year. Pay what you owe, and you'll know what's your own. Philosophy, as well as foppery, often changes fashion. Plow deep, while sluggards sleep. Polio, who values nothing that's within, buys books as men hunt beavers, for their skin. Poor Dick eats like a well man, and drinks like a sick. Poor plain dealing, dead without issue. Poverty, poetry, and new titles of honor make men ridiculous. Poverty wants some things, luxury many things, avarice all things. Praise to the undeserving is severe satire. Pray, don't burn my house to roast your eggs. Prayers and provender hinder no journey. Presumption first blinds a man, then sets him a-running. Pretty and witty will wound if they hit ye. Pride and the gout are seldom cured throughout. Pride breakfasted with plenty, dined with poverty, supped with infamy. Pride dines upon vanity, sups on contempt. Pride is as loud a beggar as want, and a great deal more saucy. Pride gets into the coach, and shame mounts behind. Proclaim not all thou knowest, all thou owest, all thou hast, nor all thou canst. Prodigality of time produces poverty of mind as well as of estate. Promises may get thee friends, but non-performance will turn them into enemies. Proud modern learning despises the ancient. Schoolmen are now laughed at by schoolboys. Quarrels never could last long if on one side only lay the wrong. Rather go to bed supperless than run in debt for a breakfast. Reading makes a full man. Meditation, a profound man. Discourse, a clear man. Read much, but not many books. Retirement does not always secure virtue. Lot was upright in the city, wicked in the mountain. Rob not for burnt offerings. Rob not God, nor the poor, lest thou ruin thyself. The eagle snatched a coal from the altar, but it fired her nest. Samson, with his strong body, had a weak head, or he would not have laid in a harlot's lap. Saying and doing have quarreled and parted. Search others for their virtues, thyself for thy vices. Sell not virtue to purchase wealth, nor liberty to purchase power. Silence is not always a sign of wisdom, but babbling is ever a mark of folly. Silks and satins put out the kitchen fire. Since thou art not sure of a minute, throw not away an hour. Singularity in the right hath ruined many. Happy those who are convinced of the general opinion. Sleep without supping, and you'll rise without owing for it. Sloth and silence are a fool's virtues. Sloth, like rust, consumes faster than labor wears. The used key is always bright. Snowy winter, a plentiful harvest. Some are justly laughed at for keeping their money foolishly, others for spending it idly. He is the greatest fool that lays it out in a purchase of repentance. Some are weatherwise, some are otherwise. Some make conscience of wearing a hat in the church, who make none of robbing the altar. Sorrow is good for nothing but sin. Spare and have is better than spend and crave. Speak and speed. The close mouth catches no flies. Speak little, do much. Speak with contempt of none, from slave to king. The meanest bee hath, and will use, a sting. Strange, that a man who has wit enough to write a satire should have folly enough to publish it. Strange, that he who lives by shifts can seldom shift himself. Strive to be the greatest man in your country, and you may be disappointed. Strive to be the best, and you may succeed. He may well win the race that runs by himself. Success has ruined many a man. Sudden power is apt to be insolent, sudden liberty saucy. That behaves best which has grown gradually. Suspicion may be no fault, but showing it may be a great one. Take counsel in wine, but resolve afterward in water. Take courage, mortal. Death can't banish thee out of the universe. Take heed of the vinegar of sweet wine and the anger of good nature. Take this remark from Richard, poor and lame, whate'er is begun in anger, ends in shame. Talking against religion is unchaining a tiger. The beast let loose may worry his deliverer. Tart words make no friends. A spoonful of honey will catch more flies than a gallon of vinegar. Teach your child to hold his tongue. He'll learn fast enough to speak. Tell a miser he's rich, and a woman she's old, you'll get no money of one, nor kindness of the other. Tell me my faults, and mend your own. The absent are never without fault, nor the present without excuse. The ancients tell us what is best, but we must learn of the moderns what is fittest. The bell calls others to church, but itself never minds the sermon. The bird that sits is easily shot. The brave and the wise can both pity and excuse, when cowards and fools show no mercy. The busy man has few idle visitors. To the boiling pot, the flies come not. The cat in gloves catches no mice. The creditors are a superstitious sect, great observers of set days and times. The cunning man steals a horse. The wise man lets him alone. The devil sweetens poison with honey. The discontented man finds no easy chair. The doors of wisdom are never shut. The end of passion is the beginning of repentance. The excellency of hogs is fatness, of men virtue. The eye of a master will do more work than his hand. The family of fools is ancient. The favor of the great is no inheritance. The generous mind least regards money, and yet most feels the want of it. The golden age was never the present age. The good paymaster is lord of another man's purse. The good or ill hap of a good or ill life is the good or ill choice of a good or ill wife. The heart of the fool is in his mouth, but the mouth of the wise man is in his heart. The heathens, when they died, went to bed without a candle. The honest man takes pains, and then enjoys pleasures. The knave takes pleasures, and then suffers pains. The honey is sweet, but the bee has a sting. The horse thinks one thing, and he that saddles him another. The idle man is the devil's hireling, whose livery is rags, whose diet and wages are famine and diseases. The king's cheese is half wasted in parings, but no matter, 'tis made of the people's milk. The learned fool writes his nonsense in better language than the unlearned, but still 'tis nonsense. The magistrate should obey the laws. The people should obey the magistrate. The master's eye will do more work than both his hands. The miser's cheese is wholesomest. The most exquisite folly is made of wisdom spun too fine. The muses love the morning. The nearest way to come to glory is to do that for conscience which we do for glory. The noblest question in the world is, what good may I do in it? The old man has given all to his son, O fool, to undress thyself before thou art going to bed. The painful preacher, like a candle bright, consumes himself in giving others light. The poor have little, beggars none, the rich too much, enough not one. The poor man must walk to get meat for his stomach, the rich man to get a stomach to his meat. The prodigal generally does more injustice than the covetous. The proof of gold is fire, the proof of woman gold, the proof of man, a woman. The proud hate pride in others. There are lazy minds as well as lazy bodies. There are no fools so troublesome as those that have wit. There are no ugly loves, nor handsome prisons. There are 3 faithful friends, an old wife, an old dog, and ready money. There are 3 things extremely hard: steel, a diamond, and to know oneself. There is neither honor nor gain got in dealing with a villain. There is no little enemy. There is no man so bad, but he secretly respects the good. There is much difference between imitating a good man and counterfeiting him. There's a time to wink as well as to see. There are many witty men whose brains can't fill their bellies. There's more old drunkards than old doctors. There's none deceived but he that trusts. There's small revenge in words, but words may be greatly revenged. There was never a good knife made of bad steel. They who have nothing to trouble them will be troubled at nothing. The rivers and bad governments, the lightest things swim at top. The rotten apple spoils his companion. The royal crown cures not the headache. The same man cannot be both friend and flatterer. The sleeping fox catches no poultry. The second vice is lying. The first is running in debt. The sting of a reproach is the truth of it. The son never repents of the good he does, nor does he ever demand a recompense. The things which hurt instruct. The tongue is ever turning to the aching tooth. The tongue offends, and the ears get the culling. The too obliging temper is ever more disobliging itself. The way to be safe is never to be secure. The way to see by faith is to shut the eye of reason. The morning daylight appears plainer when you put out your candle. The wise man draws more advantage from his enemies than the fool from his friends. The worst wheel of the cart makes the most noise. The wolf sheds his coat once a year. His disposition, never. Think of 3 things: whence you came, where you are going, and to whom you must account. Thirst after dessert, not reward. Though modesty is a virtue, bashfulness is a vice. Those that have much business must have much pardon. Those who are feared are hated. Those who, in quarrels interpose, must often wipe a bloody nose. Though the mastiff be gentle, yet bite him not by the lip. Thou canst not joke an enemy into a friend, but thou mayst a friend into an enemy. 3 good meals a day is bad living. 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. 3 things are men most likely to be cheated in: a horse, a wig, and a wife. Tim and his handsaw are good in their place, though not fit for preaching or shaving a face. Time enough always proves little enough. Time is a herb that cures all diseases. Tim was so learned that he could name a horse in 9 languages, so ignorant that he bought a cow to ride on. 'Tis against some men's principle to pay interest, and seems against others' interest to pay the principal. 'Tis a laudable ambition that aims at being better than his neighbors. 'Tis a shame that your family is an honor to you. You ought to be an honor to your family. 'Tis a strange forest that has no rotten wood in it, and a strange kindred that all are good in it. 'Tis better leave for an enemy at one's death than beg of a friend in one's life. 'Tis easier to build 2 chimneys than maintain 1 in fuel. 'Tis easier to prevent bad habits than to break them. 'Tis easy to see, hard to foresee. 'Tis easier to suppress the first desire than to satisfy all that follow it. 'Tis great confidence in a friend to tell him your faults, greater to tell him his. 'Tis hard, but glorious, to be poor and honest. 'Tis less discredit to abridge petty charges than to stoop to petty gettings. 'Tis not a holiday that's not kept holy. 'Tis a well-spent penny that saves a groat. To bear other people's afflictions, everyone has courage enough and to spare. To be intimate with a foolish friend is like going to bed with a razor. To be proud of knowledge is to be blind with light. To be proud of virtue is to poison yourself with the antidote. Today is yesterday's pupil. To err is human, to repent divine, to persist devilish. To lengthen thy life, lessen thy meals. Tomorrow every fault is to be amended, but that tomorrow never comes. Tom, vain's your pains, they all will fail. Ne'er was good arrow made of a sow's tail. Tongue double brings trouble. Too much plenty makes mouth dainty. To whom thy secret thou dost tell, to him thy freedom thou dost sell. Tricks and treachery are the practice of fools that have not wit enough to be honest. Trouble springs from idleness, toil from ease. Trust thyself, and another shall not betray thee. 2 dry sticks will burn a green one. Up, sluggard, and waste not life. In the grave will be sleeping enough. Vain glory flowereth, but birth no fruit. Vanity backbites more than malice. Vice knows she's ugly, so puts on her mask. Virtue and a trade are a child's best portion. Virtue and happiness are mother and daughter. Virtue may not always make a face handsome, but vice will certainly make it ugly. Visits should be short, like a winter's day, lest you're too troublesome, hasten away. Visit your aunt, but not every day, and call at your brother's, but not every night. Want of care does us more damage than want of knowledge. Wars bring scars. We are not so sensible of the greatest health as of the least sickness. Wealth is not his that has it, but his that enjoys it. Weighty questions ask for deliberate answers. Welcome mischief, if thou comes alone. Well done is better than well said. Well done is twice done. We may give advice, but we cannot give conduct. What is a butterfly at best? He's but a caterpillar dressed. The gaudy fops his picture just. What's given shines, what's received is rusty. What signifies knowing the names, if you know not the nature of things? What signifies your patience, if you can't find it when you want it? What's proper is becoming. See the blacksmith with his white silk apron. What you would seem to be really? When a friend deals with a friend, let the bargain be clear and well penned, that they may continue friends to the end. When befriended, remember it. When you befriend, forget it. When death puts out your flame, the snuff will tell, if we were wax or tallow by the smell. When knaves betray each other, one can scarce be blamed or the other pitied. When knaves fall out, honest men get their goods. When priests dispute, we come at the truth. When out of favor, none know thee. When in, thou dost not know thyself. When prosperity was well mounted, she let go the bridle, and soon came tumbling out of the saddle. When reason preaches, if you won't hear her, she'll box your ears. When there's more malice shown than matter, on the writer falls the satire. When the well's dry, we know the worth of water. When the wine enters, out goes the truth. When 'tis fair, be sure take your coat with you. When you're good to others, you are best to yourself. When you speak to a man, look on his eyes. When he speaks to thee, look on his mouth. When you taste honey, remember gall. Where bread is wanting, all's to be sold. Where good laws are, much people flock thither. Where sense is wanting, everything is wanting. Where there's no law, there's no bread. Where there is hunger, law is not regarded. And where law is not regarded, there will be hunger. Where there's marriage without love, there will be love without marriage. Where yet was ever found the mother who'd change her baby for another? Wide will wear, but narrow will tear. Wink at small faults. Remember, thou hast great ones. Wish not so much to live long as to live well. Without justice, courage is weak. With the old almanac and the old year, leave thy old vice, though ever so dear. Who dainties love, shall beggars prove. Who has deceived thee so oft as thyself? Who is powerful? He that governs his passions. Who is rich? He that is content. Who is rich? He that rejoices in his portion. Who is strong? He that can conquer his bad habits. Who is wise? He that learns from everyone. Who judges best of a man, his enemies or himself? Who knows a fool must know his brother, for one will recommend another. Willows are weak, but they tie up bundles of brushwood. Wish a miser long life, and you wish him no good. Women and wine, game and deceit, make the wealth small and the wants great. Words may show a man's wit, but actions his meaning. Would you live with ease, do what you ought, and not what you please? Would you persuade? Speak of interest, not of reason. Write injuries in dust, benefits in marble. Write with the learned, pronounce with the vulgar. Why does the blind man's wife paint herself? You can bear your own faults, and why not a fault in your wife? You may be too cunning for one, but not for all. You may delay, but time will not. You may give a man an office, but you cannot give him discretion. You may talk too much on the best subjects. You may sometimes be much in the wrong, in owning your being in the right. Youth is pert and positive, age modest and doubting. So ears of corn when young and light stand bolt upright, but hang their heads when weighty, full, and ripe. You will be careful, if you are wise, how you touch men's religion or credit or eyes.